From today, from day 4, we will be dealing with the most important logic out there, which will help you to get at least 5 to 10 questions in the prelims. That is on how to eliminate the extremes. Now, in this video, I'm not going to be talking about the very menial stuff, such as what to do when all comes, only comes, not that level 1 type of logic. Rather, I'll be telling you on what to do when these words come. Most of them commercially, active, greatly, large numbers, powerful, drastic, very effective, actively associated. Now, you must have wondered why UPSC introduced certain words in the prelims, right? Now, if you think that UPSC just introduced these words just for the vocabulary purpose, you are completely mistaken. Okay? Because every word introduced by UPSC has a significant role in deciding that question, has a significant role in deciding that answer. Now, this logic will actually decide your fate in prelims as well, because if you understand the same, let me guarantee you that you will get at least 5 to 10 questions in the 2026 prelims. Now, let me ask you a very simple question. Why do you think UPSC have introduced the word here, commercially cultivated? Why do you think UPSC have introduced the word main focus in this question? Or why do you think UPSC introduced the word not recently, but very recently? Or why do you think UPSC introduced here not one of the trees and one of the most important trees? Now, these type of questions, wherein UPSC have introduced the extreme words, which I have already showed you right now, needs some kind of content regarding the topic to answer the same TK. Also, there are some questions which can be purely solved through logic, but it's always better to say that, or to be on the safer side to say that, you need some form of content, the basic content regarding the question to solve these questions. Also, one of the most important logic that you should also have is to use the 1% logic to solve these questions as well. Now, what does the 1% logic say? The 1% logic basically says that how can UPSC say that it does not impact even 0.1 percentage, or it does not have even 0.1% of the material, or how can UPSC say that it will not impact it around 1 percentage? Now, this is how you have to think. Let's say, can UPSC say that in this remote, not even 0.1 percentage of uranium is not there? How can UPSC say that? Can you say that in your body, 0.001 percentage of, let's say, plutonium is not there? It's not impossible for UPSC to prove it, right? What if in the next day or in the coming years, one of the research basically says that our body has 0.1 gram of uranium? Then the UPSC answer key will go wrong, right? Now, that is what we basically meant by 1% logic, wherein we say that how can UPSC say not even 0.1 percentage of something is not there in something? Okay? You will have to apply this 1% logic along with the extreme words in order to find this answer. Now, let me show you some questions for you to have better understanding. Okay? Now, in this question, okay, as I told you, you need to have some kind of content in order to solve these questions. Now, what does the question basically say here? Okay. The question basically talks about red sanders, and you can ignore this statement here. Okay. The question says, it grows in tropical dry deciduous forest. Now, for the content part, you need to know that red sanders basically grows in tropical dry deciduous forest only. Okay. So the red sanders, it grows in tropical dry deciduous forest. So therefore, this statement is correct, right? Because we know that red sander grows in tropical dry deciduous forest. Okay. Now, in the second one, I have introduced the word mainly here. Okay. Now, the question becomes, red sanders, it mainly grows in the tropical dry deciduous forest. Now, is this statement correct or incorrect? This statement is obviously correct, right? Because we know that red sanders mainly grows in the tropical dry deciduous forest. So what do you understand here? If there is a direct relation with the topic and the fact mentioned in the statement, if there is a direct relation with the topic and the fact mentioned in the statement, even if UPSC introduces an extreme word such as mainly, it does not have any impact. Okay. So here, red sanders, and tropical dry deciduous forest has a direct relation here, and therefore even if UPSC introduces the word mainly or primarily, which is an extreme word here, it does not make any impact. Okay? Now what if I change it to not tropical dry deciduous forest but to temperate dry deciduous forest? Now here in this question, as you can see here, I have changed it to temperate dry deciduous forest, right? I have changed it to temperate dry deciduous forest. Now read the statement. With reference to red sanders, it grows in temperate deciduous forest, and in the second part I have mentioned it mainly grows in temperate deciduous forest. Now, how do you solve this question? Can UPSC say that not even a single tree of red sanders, okay? Not even a single tree of red sanders is not there in any of the temperate dry deciduous forest in India? Can UPSC say that not even a single tree is there? It's impossible for UPSC to say that, right? UPSC can say that mainly, primarily, it grows in tropical dry deciduous forest. But can UPSC say that not even a one red sander is not there in Chhattisgarh? Not even a one red sander is not there in Madhya Pradesh? It's impossible for UPSC to say that, right? So therefore, using the 1% logic, we can take this statement as correct. So here, the topic and the statement does not have direct relation. But even if direct relationship is not there, we can use our 1% logic or 0.1% logic to make this statement correct. Now, why did UPSC introduce the word mainly here? Now, what happens to this question, this statement? Is it correct or incorrect? It mainly grows in the temperate dry deciduous forest. Now, UPSC can say that it does not mainly grow in the temperate dry deciduous forest. Rather, it mainly grows in the tropical dry deciduous, right? Now, that is why UPSC have introduced the word mainly here in order to make this statement incorrect. Okay. So, always remember, why does UPSC introduce the word mainly here? Because UPSC can never say that not even a single red sander won't be there in any of the temperate dry deciduous forests in India. But UPSC can surely say that it does not mainly grow in the temperate dry deciduous forest because it grows in the tropical dry deciduous forest. So therefore, always remember, when the topic and the statement does not have a direct relationship, you can use our 1% logic. If it does not have a 1%, if it does not have a direct relation, rather UPSC introduces extreme words such as mainly, primarily, in order to eliminate our 1% logic and make the statement incorrect. So this is the way you have to think. So find out whether this topic and the statement has a direct relation. If there is a direct relation, even if the word mainly, primarily is introduced, you can anyways take it correct. If the topic and the statement does not have any direct relation, you can use your 1% logic to make it correct. But if the topic and the statement does not have any direct relation and any extreme words such as mainly, primarily is introduced. Now, why is it introduced? It's introduced to eliminate our 1% logic and make the statement incorrect. I'll show you more examples to actually, you might be feeling a bit confused, but I'll share some of examples for you to have a better clarity regarding the same. Now, this is what we summarized right now. In case of direct connection, UPSC introduced extreme words. It does not make any difference. But in case there is no direct connection, UPSC introduced extreme words to eliminate our 1% logic so that the question is 100% factually correct and no such disputes arise in the future. That is why UPSC, to be on the safer side, introduces all these kinds of extreme words. Now, look at this question. As I told you, you need to have some form of content to actually answer this question. The content here is, it's basically the low clouds which reflect solar radiation. Okay. It's a low clouds which primarily reflect solar radiation. And UPSC in 2022 have asked, high clouds primarily reflect solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth. Now this statement is incorrect because we know that low clouds primarily reflect solar radiation. Right. Now what if the word primarily was not there? Now what do you think about this statement? Is the statement correct or incorrect? High clouds reflect solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth. What do you think? Is the statement correct or incorrect? Now, can UPC say that not even 0.001 percentage of solar radiation is not reflected by high clouds? UPC can say that it's basically the low clouds which primarily reflect the solar radiation. But can UPC say that the high clouds does not even 0.1 percentage or at least something of solar radiation is not reflected by high clouds? Therefore, if you eliminate the word primarily here, if primarily is not there in this question, then this statement is correct. Now that is the big difference that these words make. If the word primarily is not there in this question, then this statement is correct. Let's move on to the next question. Now here, you can try the same. What would happen if the phytoplankton of an ocean is completely destroyed? You can attempt the same. Now remember, this is the topic. Phytoplankton is the topic. And this is the fact or in the statement. So remember to check the connection between the topic and the statement. So here, phytoplankton is first thing and carbon sink is the other thing. Now, does phytoplankton and carbon sink has any relation? Obviously, phytoplankton and carbon sink has a significant relation, right? It's basically the phytoplanktons which absorb the oxygen, which absorb the carbon dioxide and release the oxygen. So, phytoplankton and carbon sink has an relation here. Therefore, even if UPSC introduces the word adversely affected, which is an extreme word, this is correct. Now, in the second statement, does phytoplankton and food chain have any relation? Obviously, phytoplankton is eaten by zooplankton, right? So it has a direct relation. Therefore, since it have a direct relation, even if UPSC introduces the word adversely affected and not affected, it will be correct. Now, what about the third statement here? This is the most important part. Does phytoplankton and density of the ocean water, density means the weight, does phytoplankton influence the weight of the ocean? Does it have any direct relation between phytoplankton and the weight of the ocean? There is no direct relation, right? So, therefore, is this statement correct or incorrect? Here, the fact and the fact in the statement does not have any direct relation, and UPSC have introduced the word drastically there. Now, drastically is an extreme word here. So, therefore, as I told you, if the topic and the statement does not have any direct relation, and UPSC, why do UPSC introduce the extreme word? In order to eliminate our 1% logic, right? So, therefore, we can make this statement as incorrect. So, therefore, 1 and 2 is the answer here. Now, what if I ask you, the density of the ocean water would decrease? Now, what about this statement here? If I remove the word drastically, is this statement correct or incorrect? Then it would be correct, right? Because can UPSC say that if the phytoplanktons are completely destroyed, the density of the ocean water would not even decrease by 0.00001 gram? Can UPSC say that not even 0.0001 gram of the ocean water would not decrease? Now that is why if the statement did not have drastically here, then this statement is correct. Now that is why to eliminate our 1% logic, UPSC have introduced the word drastically here and made the statement incorrect. Now here, a high content of organic matter will drastically reduce. Now what is the extreme word here? The extreme word is drastically, right? Now, does the content of organic matter has any relation with the water holding capacity? Have you ever heard that content of organic matter reduces the water holding capacity? Have you ever heard that? Here also you need to have some form of content with the same, as I told you before. Now here, there is no direct relation between the content of organic matter and water holding capacity. It's usually said that, or it's universally proven that the content of organic matter increases the water holding capacity. Okay. Even if you don't know the same, you can attempt this question. Okay. Because it's that you have never heard that the content of organic matter reduces the water holding capacity. If you have never heard of the same, and UPSC have introduced the word drastically here, then what can you do? Here, this is the content, and this is the topic, and this is the content. So content of organic matter and water holding capacity, you have never heard of the same. So therefore, and UPSC have introduced the word drastically there. So therefore, you can make it as incorrect. Now, what if the word drastically was not there? High content of organic matter reduces the water holding capacity. Now, this also, you might know that it basically increases the water holding capacity. But can UPC be that sure? What if tomorrow a research paper says that high content of organic matter reduces the water holding capacity by one of the PW research, or let's say any other environmental research out there? What if they come with a document? Now, that is why, to avoid that risk, maybe in any of the journal, there are thousands of research papers and thousands of journals out there. Maybe in one of the journals, they say that water holding capacity might reduce. So that is why, in order to eliminate that 1% probability of any journal or any research paper publishing the same, maybe in future or maybe after 100 years, UPSC have introduced the word drastically here and made the statement incorrect and made UPSC on the safer side. UPSC became safe here. Take care, everyone. So what you have to do? Always remember, is there any topic? Is there any relation between the topic and the fact given in the question? If there is a direct relation, then even if UPSC introduces the word drastically, such as we saw in the phytoplankton question, such as we saw in the butterfly question, it does not make any impact. But if you are not able to find any direct relation, and then UPSC introduces an extreme word such as drastically reduce, or let's say significantly reduce, or primarily reduces, or be it anything, then remember UPSC introduces that word to eliminate our 1% logic, and UPSC becomes safe here so that no one disputes the answer provided by UPSC. So take care, everyone. So I hope all of you understood the session. We'll be coming tomorrow again with the same logic on how to do when extreme words are given in the question, but we'll be focusing more on some of the words introduced in the questions, such as you can see here: near future, very recently, totally replace, powerful, large numbers, widespread. So we'll be discussing on what to do when such type of questions, such type of words are asked by UPSC. So take care, everyone. I hope all of you enjoyed the session. Do share it with your friends and all the other aspirants out there. So thank you.